of the Philippine Army's non-traditional and traditional capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, looking back at our history, well, the Philippine Army was established on March 22, 1897 during the Tejeros Convention. Since then, it has evolved into a multifunctional force. Our Army forebears to the present day soldiers have not only been a defender with passion and perseverance, but physically and mentally tough with emotional endurance, yet with distinctive competency. They have showed resiliency, camaraderie, and synergy in facing challenges. And most of all, the Philippine Army as an organization could be depended on. We have remained to be a strong, united, and reliable organization, as manifested in our anniversary theme. As we proceed, everyone is enjoined to stand for the invocation to be led by the Army Chief Chaplain, Colonel Roy L. Ungao.
Manalangin tayo. Pinagpala mo, Panginoong Diyos, itong aming pagtitipon sa pagdiriwang ng ika-126 na anibersaryo ng pagkatatag ng aming hukbong katihan sa biyaya ng presensya ng bawat isang narito at sa biyaya ng magandang panahon. At punong-puno ng kagalakan ang aming puso na nagpupuri sa iyo, Panginoon. Tunay mo kaming itinaguyod sa hukbong katihan ng iyong mga pagkilos sa amin. Marami pong salamat sa mga tao at iba't ibang ahensya at samahan na iyong isinugo bilang aming katuwang. Maraming salamat din sa biyaya ng mga suporta ng aming pamunuan sa militar, ng aming mga kakilala at pamilya, ng aming pamahalaan sa pangunguna ng kagalang-galang na pinuno ng aming bansa, Presidente Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. Maraming salamat, Panginoon, sa kanilang tulong, gabay at inspirasyon na nagpatibay sa amin at nagpasigla ng aming pagkilos upang makamit ang maraming tagumpay sa patuloy na pakikibaka para sa kapayapaan at kapakanan ng aming bayan. At sa aming pagsulong bilang iyong mga lingkod sa hukbong katihan, hinihiling po namin ang iyong patuloy na pagkilos sa aming gitna upang matahak namin ang tamang landas ng pagganap at patuloy na mapaunlad ang aming hanay. Patuloy mo rin nawa kaming biyayaan ng kinakailangang mga kagamitan at dunong upang matugunan namin ng nararapat bilang mga lingkod bayan ang tawag ng aming dakilang katungkulan. Mapanatili nawa ang magandang kaisahan na aming nararanasan at mapalalim ang pasyon at pagmamahal sa iyong pagtawag sa amin sa buhay paglilingkod bilang kawal at kawani sa aming hukbong katihan. At para sa aming lahat, iyo nawa kaming akayin sa pamumuhay na malugod at sang-ayon sa iyong kalooban. Pukawin mo nawa ang hangaring magkaisa at magdamayan bilang isang lahing Pilipino sa ikalulutas ng mga suliraning pangkapayapaan at sa maunlad na pagsulong ng aming lipunan. at patuloy na lingapin upang ligtas sa anumang kapahamakan, sampu ng aming mga mahal sa buhay. Papuri sa iyo, Panginoon, ngayon at magpakailanman. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. We shall have the entry of the troops consisting of the combat and combat support units. Well, from the right side of the grandstand, ladies and gentlemen, we have the troops consisting of the combat and combat support units. From the Security and Escort Battalion, the 1st Scout Ranger Regiment, the Special Forces Regiment Airborne, and the composite units comprised of the 2nd Infantry Jungle Fighter Division, 7th Infantry Cognite Division, Armor Pambato Division, Army Support Command, and the Training and Doctrine Command. May we also make mention of the non-traditional and traditional capabilities of the Philippine Army as presented in the static and kinetic display that showcases the functions of the Philippine Army. We have several booths that feature the enhanced humanitarian assistance and disaster response capability of the Philippine Army, consisting of the Army's Forward Treatment Unit, Aero Medical Evacuation Team, the 525th Engineer Combat Battalion, the Premier HADR Engineer Unit, whose personnel and equipment figured in the disaster response in Turkey. We'll also have the booths on the programs that support the nation-building effort of the Philippine Army in partnership with the government and stakeholders, among of which the food security support programs, environment support programs, socio-economic development programs, the local peace engagement programs, and the reserve force development programs. Aside from what were mentioned, we also have the vehicles and equipment supporting the combat operations.
Kampanaw! Ho! Baba! Ha! Rap sa kaliwa! Rap!
In all that you're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, manifest a strong, united, and reliable organization. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for the Philippine Army. The troop commander for this ceremony is Colonel Vincent D. Mauricio of the Installation Management Command, Philippine Army. As we take part in this celebration, to open up today's ceremony with his welcome remarks and anniversary message, we have the Commanding General, Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Romeo S. Browner, Jr.
His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., sir, President of the Republic of the Philippines, esteemed government officials, local and international partners, members of the media, other guests, fellow servant soldiers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the men and women of the Philippine Army, I welcome you all to the 126th founding anniversary of your fighting force, the Philippine Army. Today, we are privileged to have with us our Commander-in-Chief and President of the Republic as our guest of honor and speaker. We take this occasion to celebrate the lives of the brave men and women who went before us, unyielding in their courage, uncompromising in their principles, unbowed in their patriotism. They are forever etched in our collective memory to remind us of why we serve and for whom we serve. But not all heroes and legends live only in our memories. For today, we have here with us some of our Medal for Valor awardees. And may I request you, sirs, to kindly stand up to be recognized. Maraming salamat po, sir. We also have our former commanding generals of the Philippine Army. And may I request you, sirs, to kindly stand up to be recognized. Then, as now, your army continues to evolve, always in step with the demands of the times. From its humble beginnings as a revolutionary organization formed during the secret meetings of the Katipunan in 1897 to the present day strong, united, and reliable force, we remain resolute in our dedication to secure the peace and protect our sovereignty. Our endeavors in the last year manifest the very same spirit of service as we work tirelessly to achieve organizational gains and operational milestones. Most significant of this are in the intelligence-driven military operations against communist and local terrorist groups, where we see the imminent complete dismantling of the remaining guerrilla fronts. Our successes are shared with our stakeholders, whose solid cooperation has magnified the impact of the whole of nation approach. This in turn has encouraged the voluntary surrender of former rebels and their eventual reintegration into mainstream society. We have been just as untiring in bolstering our international defense and security engagements with allies and foreign counterparts. Even as I speak, our troops are testing their mettle in exercise Salaknib, the latest edition of the joint training exercises with our partners from the United States Army. Our humanitarian and disaster response capabilities are tested and always on the ready. Most recently, we sent an urban search and rescue team to Turkey as part of the multi-agency earthquake response team of the Philippine government. In fact, the members of that team that we sent to Turkey are joining us today, and they are right there in their booth on the field. Palakpakan po natin sila. The Philippine Army's non-traditional roles further extend to boosting our President's Food for All program. In early March, we embarked on the initiative of planting 1 million fruit-bearing trees that serve to help provide for our people's basic needs and protect the environment as well. Another food security initiative is the Hardin ng Lunas, a greenery program for all military camps all over the country that transforms vacant areas in our camps into productive vegetable and herbal gardens. Showcasing our non-traditional roles are our booths in the grassy area of our parade ground. Namely, we have the emergency response booth. We also have our food security booth, our environmental protection booth, our socio-economic development booth, our local peace engagement booth, and our reserve force development booth. The booths on warfighting focus on the newly acquired assets, our command and control capabilities, the Scout Rangers, and the Special Forces. So all of these booths would present your Army's non-traditional roles and our warfighting capabilities, and we would like to invite everyone to visit our booths after the ceremony. Parallel to fulfilling our multifaceted duties, we have sustained our momentum to transform. We have developed an 18-year strategic horizon plan with a singular objective: to become world-class, multi-mission ready, cross-domain capable by the year 2040. Your Philippine Army is 126 years old. We are strong in combined arms and soldiers' tested grit and willpower. We are united and resilient against all odds, anchored on enduring camaraderie and synergy. And we are reliable under any circumstance or challenge, with dynamic collaborations and partnerships founded on our soldiers' sincerity and selfless service. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, our Commander-in-Chief, it is my honor to present to you your Philippine Army at 126.
Strong! United! United!
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much to the Commanding General of Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Romus Browner Jr. On the occasion of the 126th founding anniversary of the Philippine Army, let us now take a glimpse on the Philippine Army as a strong, united, and reliable force.
The Philippines, the pearl of the Orient. As with every valuable treasure, is worth securing and defending. A commitment being kept by the Philippine Army since its very founding. Strong, united, and reliable. Your Army at 126. A strong force, employing combined arms capabilities. A strong force, exemplifying grit and willpower to subdue and conquer adversaries. A united force, overcoming odds and threats with resiliency. A united force, employing synergy and enduring camaraderie to surpass challenges and adversities. A reliable force, engaging in meaningful collaboration and strong partnerships. A reliable force, ensuring progress and harmony through sincere and selfless service. For more than 100 years, the Philippine Army has continued to evolve and adapt to the ever-changing security environment.
The role of the AFP and the role of its commanders has certainly changed. Even the method of war fighting has become more complex.
with the new technologies, with the new capabilities that have become available to us. The AFP has never failed in that mission. Hope to continue to inspire, to keep up the good work.
In a faithful commitment to the Filipinos, it shall continue to serve to bring pride and honor to the nation. This is your Philippine Army at 126, strong, united, and reliable.
Thank you very much. We just had the audiovisual presentation on the Army at 126, strong, united, and reliable. We shall proceed with a presentation of awards. Military personnel, reservists, and civilian human resource, as well as stakeholders will be presented with awards. His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is requested for the presentation of awards. He'll be joined by the officer in charge of the Department of National Defense, the Honorable Carlito G. Galvez Jr., and they will be assisted by the Commanding General, Philippine Army. The Gold Cross Medal is awarded to First Lieutenant Felix R. Veronilla, O-19667 Infantry, Philippine Army, for gallantry in action who led the government troops during the 9-hour intense firefight against members of the Dawla Islamiyya at Lanao del Sur, La 01, March 2022. The Gold Cross Medal is awarded to Corporal James C. Sungkad, 940872 Infantry, Philippine Army, for gallantry in action who secured the main effort by operating the captured enemy crew-served weapons against the Dawla Islamiyya at Lanao del Sur, La 01, March 2022. The Silver Cross Medal is awarded to Major Dennis P. Resurrection, O-15150 Infantry, Philippine Army, for meritorious achievement to facilitated and implemented an intelligence project to neutralize the communist terrorist group at Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. The Silver Cross Medal is awarded to Technical Surgeon Jekris B. Elia, 846603, Military Intelligence, Philippine Army, for meritorious achievement by providing valuable intelligence that assisted in the decision-making to neutralize the Dawla Islamiyya at Maging, Lanao del Sur. The Bronze Cross Medal is awarded to First Lieutenant Geoffrey V. Assis, O-1515009 Infantry, Philippine Army, for acts of conspicuous courage not involving conflict with the enemy who led the humanitarian assistance and disaster response operations at Laurel, Agoncillo, Cuenca, Balite, Talisay, Alitagtag, Lemery, and Batangas City during the Taal volcano eruption. The Bronze Cross Medal is awarded to Technical Sergeant Arco O. Castillo, 800959, Corps of Engineer, Philippine Army, for acts of conspicuous courage not involving conflict with the enemy who led the humanitarian assistance and disaster response operations at Laurel, Agoncillo, Cuenca, Balite, Talisay, Alitagtag, Lemery, and Batangas City during the Taal volcano eruption. The command plaque for the Best Enlisted Personnel of the Year is presented to Sergeant William B. Telio, Jr., 905464, Military Intelligence, Philippine Army, for being instrumental in the successful series of encounters against the communist terrorist group at Lanuza, Surigao del Sur. The command plaque for the Best CAFCU Active Auxiliary of the Year is presented to CAFCU Active Auxiliary Juni S. Idon, AN-G21-000174, Philippine Army, for actively being involved in the triad efforts that weaken the communist terrorist group in the areas of the northern, central Mindanao. The command plaque for the Best Reservist Officer of the Year is presented to Major Nilo P. Demiray, O-152267, Philippine Army Reserve, for displaying exemplary leadership as a reservist officer and as an elected public official who received numerous awards during his tour of duty. The command plaque for the best reservist enlisted of the year is presented to Sergeant Roel J. Kamba, SS-R20-000065, Philippine Army Reserve, for commendable performance by participating in various humanitarian and disaster relief operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. The command plaque for the best male ROTC cadet of the year is presented to Cadet Colonel Fergie John O. Franghe, First Class, for actively participating in various humanitarian assistance in Quezon City through his ROTC unit. The command plaque for the best female ROTC cadet of the year is presented to Cadet Major Norshima A. Upi, Second Class, for remarkable accomplishments in organizing various community activities to prevent the recruitment of communist terrorist groups. The command plaque for the Model Supervisor of the Year is presented to Ms. Evangeline M. Singeo, PhD, for being instrumental in the reconciliation of accounts and the creation of established records of issued individual firearms. The command plaque for the Model Employee of the Year is presented to Ms. Janet M. Hapita, MA, registered psychologist, for being actively involved in the mental health advocacies of the Philippine Army and participating in various social activities. This time, stakeholders will be presented with awards. The Pagkakaisa Army Stakeholder Award will be presented, a limited edition artwork that embodies the aspiration of the Philippine Army to attain enduring peace across the land, represented by a soldier and three children garbed in traditional Ifugao, tribal wear, representing Luzon, Camisa de Chino, Visayas, and Hijab, Mindanao. The Pagkakaisa Army Stakeholder Award is presented to Mr. Nemesio Nemi Armiranda Jr., National Artist, for his invaluable effort to support the Philippine Army by employing art as a way of exhibiting nation sovereignty and creatively using his art form to depict the proud and dynamic history of the Philippines and its Army by creating the 175-meter-long mural in Fort Bonifacio, Metro Manila. The Pagkakaisa Army Stakeholder Award is presented to GMA Kapuso Foundation Incorporated. The award will be received by Ms. Ricky Escudero Katibog, EVP COO GMA Kapuso Foundation Incorporated, for the invaluable partnership and initiatives in support of the Philippine Army, particularly in ensuring the efficient delivery of goods and services to far-flung areas, as well as the generous donations to relief operations and assistance that immensely contributed to the attainment of the Philippine Army's mission of serving the Filipino nation. The Pagkakaisa Army Stakeholder Award is presented to Engineer Isidro Cid Consunhi and Consunhi family, and the award will be received by Ms. Josefa Consunhi Reyes, Director, Semirara Mining and Power Corporation, and Mr. Tulsi Das Consunhi Reyes, President of the MCI Mining. This is for the invaluable efforts and initiatives in support of the Philippine Army's aviation and transport capability development through the generous donation of short Sherpa transport aircraft SD-3-30, which can be converted in carrier for various military and civic actions. The Pagkakaisa Army Stakeholder Award is presented to Dr. Isabel Cojuangco Suntay, co-founder of Tarlac Heritage Foundation Incorporated, for her invaluable partnership with the Philippine Army's Green Camps program by introducing the Hardin ng Lunas that ushers food productivity in idle Army camp lands and reservoirs. Her zeal has driven the Philippine Army to accomplish its non-traditional objectives and goals in support of the food security program of the government. Congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you very much, His Excellency, to the OIC of the Department of National Defense, and to the Commanding General, Philippine Army. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all the awardees. To introduce now the guest of honor and speaker, we have the officer in charge, Department of National Defense, the Honorable Carlito G. Galvez Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you very much to Acting SND Charlie Galvez for your kind introduction. Before we begin, the troop commander will give the command of Tikas Pahinga.
Tikas! Ha! Ano, tikas? Ha?
Our National Security Advisor, Secretary Ed Año, the members of the Diplomatic Corps, their excellencies, the members of our legislature here today, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Andy Centeno, Commanding General of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Romeo Browner Jr., the officers, enlisted men and women of the Philippine Army, my fellow workers in government, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are gathered here today to commemorate the institution that serves as the defenders of our land and of our people. Through the years, the Philippine Army has shown patriotism and bravery that allowed our country to succeed and thrive in its pursuit of peace, of stability, and of democracy. The entire nation is grateful for the many sacrifices our ground troops have made to ensure our internal security. Some of us have lost friends and families in the fight for peace, but we will continue to ensure that their sacrifices will not have been in vain. We come to the point in our country's history when half a century's fight with insurgents is coming to an end. This would not only bring peace to our nation, but will also help development and improve the lives of every Filipino. With the declining numbers of the communist terrorist group, we must now recalibrate our military approach. As our ground troops, you have done the difficult part of clearing our communities of internal security threats. You must now continue being the catalyst to their surrender and the disarmament. However, we are now undertaking an even more challenging mission, one that is not yours to carry alone. Addressing the root causes of insurgency will entail a whole-of-nation approach. Take on the task of peacemakers. Work with national government agencies, civil society groups, the private sector, and the communities themselves in keeping the peace. It is a critical task, as it is only through achieving internal security that we will be able to foster development and address equally important security concerns. It now behooves you to ensure that these areas will not fall into the hands of those who intend to sow fear, discontent, and terror. As we navigate the challenges of the 21st century, we need to protect younger Filipinos who will eventually inherit your legacy and lead the country. Actively take part molding the Filipino youth to be responsible citizens, to be patriotic leaders. The external security environment is becoming more complex. It is becoming more unpredictable. While advancements in technology have facilitated greater interaction among states, amongst economies and peoples, resulting in better development outcomes, it has also created conditions that will dictate the future of warfare. That is why the Army must always be fully prepared and capable for any contingencies, especially considering you are the country's last line of defense against any external security threat. Be vigilant against elements that will undermine our hard-earned peace, our hard-earned stability. Continue to improve relations with your counterparts overseas. Common security challenges necessitate a more concerted approach among like-minded nations. Share information, learn from the best practices in the region to make our military better. To the Army leadership, I am aware that the emerging threat to our territory and our emphasis on addressing this threat requires adjustment in our strategy. But I'm confident that the Philippine Army, which has more than a century of experience, will be able to rise up to the task as it has always done. As your Commander-in-Chief, I am assuring you that we remain committed to modernizing the armed forces so no threat will be impossible to handle. We will continue to invest not only in modern equipment and material, but also in your training, so you can keep abreast of concepts, doctrines, strategies that we now need in the modern battlefield. This is a glorious day to celebrate the achievements of the Philippine Army. Take pride in the fact that you carry on your shoulders the force of 100 Filipinos fighting for a better future. As our country's defenders, you are always the first to heed the call to serve and never the ones who surrender. I know that you march towards the battlefield not only to safeguard our beloved motherland and our future, but you also do it because you know in your very hearts that what you are doing is honorable, what you are doing is just, and what you are doing is right. March on, Philippine Army. Once again, happy 126th anniversary to the Philippine Army. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay po ang Philippine Army. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Let us work together to prevail, braving all odds, sustain the gains, and continuously play a significant role in serving the Filipinos while securing the land. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for the Philippine Army. We'd like to thank the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. A big hand for the President. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony for this morning in celebration of the Philippine Army's 126th founding anniversary. Kami po ay taus-pusong nagpapasalamat sa inyong pakikiisa sa pagdiriwang na ito. Sa ating lahat na bumubuo ng Hukbong Katihan ng Pilipinas, maligayang anibersaryo. Magandang umaga at sumaatin ang higit pang pagpapala ng dakilang lumikha. Mabuhay ang Hukbong Katihan ng Pilipinas! Mabuhay ang sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas! Mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas! Muli, marami pong salamat sa inyong lahat.
We're special forces of the AFP, and we are soldiers of liberty. Some infiltrate into the enemy, others are skies paratroopers. We're special forces and fight we will, till all the guns of the foe are still. Airborne from skies so blue, we're coming through, make you jump, take your pamphlets, don't post on your boots, your parachutes. It's all the fighters ready to attack today, or will we come into the dawn to fight them all the special forces way. Hey, we're special forces of the AFP, and we are soldiers of liberty. Some infiltrate our skies, paratroopers. We're special forces and fight we will. Till all the guns of the foe are still. Airborne from skies so blue. We're coming through, make you jump, take you run, let's go! We jumped last night, we jumped the night before. We gonna jump tonight as we never jumped